I have the pleasure of having Dom Muscat from Bucks Biz on the red sofa with us today. Hi Dom, are you able to give our viewers an insight into Bucks Biz?
Hey Kim, thank you for having me. Yes, Bucks Biz we're business centre owner and operators in North and South Milton Keynes. So what we do is we will take a building, develop it into a business centre and create flexible office and studio industrial space that we would rent to a variety of customers. We currently have over 300 businesses that rent from us, ranging from a small beauty boutique to a large 60-person call centre and everything that you can imagine in between.
You use the term business centres for growth potential. How do you back this up and what does this look like to a potential tenant?
With growth potential, that is our flexible licence that we do. So basically, when you rent from us, we have short rolling 90-day terms, longer terms if you want them. And what that means is that you can move into a small space, and as your business grows, you can then take larger space. Because we build and develop the centres ourselves, we can actually do this sometimes without even moving you. So we can take a wall out, knock through it, mix and match them. I make that sound a lot easier than it actually is, but you know, we can do that. The other thing is, especially now with like the brave new COVID world, you could find yourself wanting to have a hot desk and expand that hot desk scenario, have separate offices where you could incubate teams and things like that, and we're just catered for all of that.
You house many businesses. Are there any common problems small businesses face, and are you able to share any advice and guidance for these?
Well, I'm not saying it because you're accounts, but accounts is the biggest problem. I mean, what we find, renting to 300 businesses currently, we move in and out around about 100 businesses per year across our 3 sites in North and South Milton Keynes. And the issues are always the same. Business is a business, whether it's a one-person sole trader or a 10,000 person PLC. If you don't have a good grasp of your figures, you're going to run into trouble eventually. And the issue you have in today's market is, with access to such easy finance, what I often see is somebody will move in, medium-sized business, been operating for a while, they win a big contract, you know, and it's the old adage, you know, turnover is vanity, profit sanity. You know, so they win a £500,000 contract, they then start expanding, leasing Range Rovers, you know, employing more staff, and then somebody like yourselves come in and give them a bit of financial advice and say, hey, you're turning over £500,000, but your costs are £500,000, and that's where you have the issue. So it's always keeping a grasp on finances is the issue we find with any business that rents from us.
I noticed from your website you offer licences and not leases to your tenants. Are you able to enlighten us to the difference and the benefits that this can bring to new tenants?
Well, licence and leases. So a lease is a lot more stringent. It was viewed that a lease was more long-term, and it was always an aspiration for a business to take out a 25-year lease. In the modern world, that's no good. You know, 25 years, your business is moving so much in that time, growing, expanding, contracting, pivoting, whatever it's doing. So what you find is if you take out a lease, they've come down in their terms. So they're no longer 25 years as a norm, they're now 5 years or maybe a bit below. But you are still restricted. So when you sign for that period of time with lease, you're stuck for that time. So you sign on, say, a 10-person office for 5 years on the lease, then you need to expand that space. You can't, you're stuck there. Whereas with a license, there's a lot more flexibility. So the downside was people always viewed a license being short-term, and that's no good, but that short-term actually gives you flexibility. And the short-term's a myth. You know, I've got customers that have been with us coming up to 20 years now, so you don't have to worry about that. Then the other biggest thing with a lease is it's what's called self-repairing liable. So that means you're responsible to the building. Now, when you rent from us at Bucks Biz, we're responsible for all structural dilapidations. So it's like a private landlord. Anything goes wrong in your building, aircon don't work, windows falling out, that's our problem and cost to repair for you. When you're on a lease, you have to pay for that yourself. Now, depending on the terms, you might have to use the landlord's approved contractors, which means you're paying a little bit more than you should be paying. Or more importantly, when you get to the end of your lease, that's when the landlord then turns around and says, thank you for your business, but my roof's knackered, you owe me 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, you know, these are normal figures for those repairs. You will be like, well, hold on, that roof was broken before I moved in, the leak was always there in the corner. If you didn't do a full building survey before you moved in, if you didn't go get the full legal fees, which is all, you know, thousands of pounds before you move in, something you won't get with a licence and moving in with us, then, you know, they're going to really bite you further down the line. I actually had a customer recently who came to us. He's come off the back of a 25-year lease. He said that on the face of things, we're double dear to what he was paying on the lease. But when he factors in all of the business rate, service charge and everything he had to pay on top, then all of the dilapidations he got hit for right at the end, we're actually half money.
With businesses embracing flexible working for their employees, how do you see this affecting the way businesses use their office space?
Flexibility is key, so obviously giving maximum flexibility, and that's what we're built for, you know, to enable businesses to grow, contract, you know, that's what we're about.
Bucksby's seems to have a real community spirit. What are the benefits to having multiple businesses in a single location?
The good thing is, with 300 businesses, we have a closed Facebook group that we have for our community. We've tried many iterations of this, a bulletin board, network meetings. The Facebook group seems to work the best. And the way that works is, when you rent from us, not just a business owner who's going to be shouting, you know, this is what I do, buy from me, but also all of the staff and employees that use our buildings. Because we had one the other day, actually, a lady put a post up saying, I'm looking for a plumber, I've got a leak at home, can anyone help us? And we rent to about 6 plumbers who have offices with us, so they all just responded. And of course, you know, it's the Bucksby's community, so, you know, look after each other. And then of course you could be there saying, I need an accountant, people put their hands up, go down the corridor and you can have a conversation. So it's nice, and the community spirit we've got within our centres is good. You know, people have started to work together, you know, saying hello to each other down the corridors and things like that. It's just a nice buzz to have around.
Is there anything new on the horizon for Bucksby's?
We're always looking for properties, so if anyone knows of any buildings, do let us know, because we want to develop more business centres. But at the moment, it's obviously recovering from COVID and seeing the way that businesses are now coping with what spec they need within their units. So it's getting them back into the building, and making sure that they're still getting a safe environment that they're happy with, but not restrictive that you're not able to work.
Well, thanks for your time today, Dom. It's been great getting an insight into Bucksby's.
Thank you very much.